Hey everybody, Hugh Brownstone for Three Blind Men and an Elephant. And today we're going to talk about follow focus controllers, wireless focus controllers, and plain old garden variety, except it's not garden variety, manual follow focus. This has been my personal follow focus for a while now. It's the edelkrone FocusONE Pro. It has been superseded by this guy, the edelkrone FocusONE. And we're going to talk about that. But these are really just reference markers for the main event, which is the Cinegears wireless follow focus controller. I have the opportunity to mount it on the Sony FS5 with Veydra's latest, their 85mm T 2.2 mini prime. I love these guys. I have to tell you that I now understand for the first time that this is mounted on a piece of crap rail system. I did not know until now why I was able to get such a cheap rail system. Now I know. It doesn't work well with high quality, heavy duty gear like this, and you're going to see that in a little bit. This is matched to this, the Cinegears controller. Pretty cool. This is industrial strength. But we wouldn't be three blind men and an elephant if we didn't compare this to yet something else, because we want to understand the totality of what we're seeing, right? And most of you don't have a Sony FS5. You're more likely to have something like this, my standby, the A6300. Love, love, love this, but you guys already know that. And some of you really love Micro Four Thirds and have the Panasonic GH4, or you have this guy, the Lumix GX8, which is a very cool camera. I really like it. I haven't had it long enough to do a detailed test. I will try to get it back. I just have to say it's a 4K shooting camera, and the thing that I really like about it is this. It's this tiltable EVF. Really like that. Now, what's not normally part of this is this guy. This is one half of Aputure's DEC LensRegain. I can't keep track of all of these product names. The Aputure DEC LensRegain system, or Regain lens system. Actually, it's not one half, it's 1/3. This is the receiver that plugs into what is essentially a Metabones style focal reducer and speed enhancer. So there's glass in here, which in turn is connected in this instance to a Canon EF 50mm 1.8 STM, so current generation EF autofocus lens. And this is really cool when you've got legacy glass, but you've switched over to mirrorless and want to be able to take advantage of that legacy glass, both in terms of aperture control and follow focus, as it turns out, using this, the third piece of the DEC LensRegain lens system. A lovely designed, again, wireless follow focus controller. So that's what we're looking at today. Let's take it from the top. Here you go, because really I'm trying so hard to make these shorter. There's a much bigger blog post on this stuff. Please check it out. And okay, this is the second time in recent memory where I have three very different pieces of equipment, and it turns out that the trade-offs are really appropriate. And depending on your budget and needs, you'll be happy with any one of these. Look, if you want geared CineLens wireless performance, the only game in this particular town is the Cinegears. It is smooth, it is precise, it is repeatable. It's hardcore. Flip side is, it's not the friendliest thing that I've ever seen. And I hate push button programming. It's 2016. I want to be able to swipe stuff on an iPhone. But it's clear that this is industrial grade, and it's priced like it too. The thing that's also interesting about this is that because it's got a combination receiver and gear motor, you can mount up to 3 of these next to each other. You can get a multi-channel version of this guy, and then you can control aperture and zoom if you happen to have a zoom lens. The controller really is silky smooth, heavily weighted, beautiful. These pop off magnetically. If you want to switch them because you've got a different lens, just pull another one on. Really terrific, works well. It's got hard stops or endpoints that you can put on. Frankly, I find these a little bit fiddly, and I don't have huge fingers, but I don't have small fingers either, so I don't like that so much, but that's a nit, really. One of the things that I also like is that you can set a light on so that when you're in the dark, you can still read your marks. So that's really terrific. Okay, in a nutshell, that's that one. Next one. LensRegain. This is really beautiful industrial engineering. I really like it. The issue in this case is that you have to have Canon EF lenses and you have to have Sony E-mount or Micro Four Thirds mount body. If you don't, then this is irrelevant to you. But there's another issue. This is designed to take advantage, very cleverly so, of the built-in electronics of the camera and the motors in these autofocus lenses. And it really does the business. I got consistent, repeatable stops because, like the Cinegears, you can also set A/B points. The Cinegears, you can actually set 4 marks. This one only 2, but for most people, that's really quite extraordinary. And this also has a lovely aperture adjustment wheel as well. But the problem is you're limited to what these kinds of lenses can do. And that means a couple of things. One, it's step function for aperture and it's step function for focus. You can actually hear this Canon lens clunking from one level to the next if you're listening for it. And if you're looking for it, you can see it. It's even more obvious when you're adjusting the aperture. So that is a limitation of the choice of gear to which this is attached. And there's just nothing that you can do about it. But this is 1/3 the price, less than $600 for the whole shooting match. And as I said before, the industrial design of the LensRegain is just lovely. It really has a superior low light visibility implementation compared to the Cinegears. Now, the Cinegears has a couple of other things. One of the things that the guys sent me to take a look at is their mini controller. So this has all the functionality of the big controller, including auto calibration of start and end points of the lenses. Very cool. But this, in theory, is designed to, I don't know, sit next to the handle of a 3-axis gimbal. And of course, it's much, much smaller. And I don't do gimbals for a living. So I'm couching what I'm going to say in those terms. Seems to me that as powerful as this little guy is, it doesn't work that well for this purpose. Now, the flip side is that you can take this little guy and make him a big guy. And you do that, by attaching a knob. And away you go. So this is an alternative. And then, if you don't have the money, and you're not trying to do it on a gimbal, and you're not trying to do it on a drone, this is a $200 unit. And you can get stuff silky smooth with a manual follow focus like this. I have. In fact, the opening sequence was done with this on the Veydra 85mm T2.2. Let's talk about the Veydra for a minute. Thanks to the guys at Veydra for shipping one over. Thanks to the guys at Aputure for shipping a DEC LensRegain over. Thanks to Cinegears for shipping over some of that. I mean, it's like getting paid to eat chocolate, right? Except they don't pay me. Wait a minute. That's like just eating chocolate and then having to give most of it back. Here's the thing. The Veydra is a true geared cinema lens. You can do things with this lens that you can't do with any autofocus lens. Even this very interesting lens, while we're at it, Sony's 90mm 2.8 macro. Now, I bought this lens with my own money. And the thing that's so interesting about this lens, apart from it being incredibly sharp, is that you can take it from fly-by-wire to much more consistent manual focus. But even with that said, it can't do the business the way a Veydra can. So, what else do I want to tell you? I do want to tell you one other thing. This really is designed for heavy-duty gear, and what that means is a heavy-duty battery. There is no battery in this, unlike the rechargeables that sit inside the DEC LensRegain. Instead, you have a cable, and that cable goes into here, and the other end is expecting to see something like this, which is a really cool, it's the coolest battery I've ever seen. I mean, probably it should be because it costs, I don't know, 600 bucks, something like that. This is the Anton Bauer Cine 150. It is really pretty incredible, but there are other batteries that have the same thing, which is a power tap connection. That's what the Cinegears receiver motor is expecting, and you plug this in and away you go. So, you're not going to run out of juice. It assumes you're not going to run out of juice. You really can't make that assumption if you're working with something like the A6300 or the GX8 and you've got something like this. See what I mean? You really do get what you pay for. But again, any one of these are really fit for the purpose and beautifully done given what they are. Now, every one of them has limitations. I've described some of them to you. I should talk for a minute about the limitations even of this guy. What's the limitation of this guy? Well, it's got a nice index marker and it's got one index point, but there's no second point. That's a problem. It's got an adjustable disc so you can move that point. Cool. But when you're actually using it, there's a little bit too much effort required to move it, and you have to hold the gears with your fingers so that they don't move at all. Otherwise, you'll throw off the focus. And the final thing is, there are no hard stops. It's 200 bucks, don't get piggy. Anyway, that's what I know about this stuff. Stay tuned because I have some very interesting and exciting news coming up about these kinds of things. But in the meantime, if you like what you've seen here, thumbs up, subscribe. You want to support the channel by using the affiliate links to keep me full of coffee? Awesome. If not, that's fine. And as I've said before, really, I love engaging with you guys in the comments section below. I learn things and I'm happy to share what I know. For Three Blind Men and an Elephant, I'm Hugh Brownstone. See you next time.